time for another Cool Pitch podcast. Hi, I'm Tyler, and today I'm pitching the true story of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman. There's a book called Superboys that I fell in love with reading their story. If you do not know anything about the creators of Superman, they are from Cleveland, Ohio. There's a beautiful statue monument outside the Cleveland Public Library now that honors them. I host a podcast called Krypton Report. It's all about Superman and DC Comics. Also, I'm a member of the Siegel Shuster Society out of Cleveland, and Jerry Siegel's house still stands in Cleveland. There's a memorial out in front of it. And I say all this because if you go back and you study their story, they basically sold the rights to a character that's made billions of dollars for $130. And then they were hired by DC to write and draw their character, which they made a lot of money during that time because Superman was a hot selling character. And then they, just like nothing, they were fired and lost everything because they struggled, especially Shuster, Siegel, and they tried to sue DC for the rights back. It did not work out. A lot of things like that back then happened where people would create these characters, and there was a great documentary made about the creation of Batman called Batman and Bill. It was about Bill Finger, who really created Batman, but Bob Kane stole all the credit. But Siegel and Shuster, Siegel would go on to write for DC. He would write Superboy. They kind of almost stole Superboy from him, but when he did Superboy, the character stuff was different. So the rights to Superman and Superboy are a little bit different. They tried to sue again, and he was fired. When he did rewrite for DC, he couldn't use his name. And he added a lot of Superman's myth and story in Superboy retroactively to Superman because of the same character. The legendary writer and artist Neil Adams would go on to help with the 70s Champion and using the movie as leverage that their names be put back into the comic because Superman built DC, then Batman, but Superman did so much for DC, and I mean, even Jerry Siegel's wife, that was the original model for Lois Lane and everything. She even looked like his wife and everything. So it's a tragic, great story. I mean, having recently just had the new Superman film and Superman's popular and back in the conversation, but the story about the people that created him is a very, very wonderful topic. And then, Siegel and Schuster were in the 70s awarded, like their names got re-recognized. They got, recognized as being the creators of Superman. And they basically started to receive a pension salary from DC until their passing. And I mean, that's a story. That's an American story right there. Back in 2017, was it, I think? Yeah. They released a movie about William Marsden, who created Wonder Woman, and his story was more dark and seductive and had a lot more undertones that's adult and sexuality. But the story of Siegel and Schuster is a beautiful story of tragedy, triumph, and I think needs to be told.